usually picking your jungle in an early rotation, unless you are a player like a Kanavi or a Beishang, these types of players who really want to get jungle counter pick, is what makes sense.
And having said that, we have not seen Wukong in the jungle here in the LPL as well.
We saw it once in spring.
Did we?
We did.
Was it out of XX?
No. This is going to bother me now. But we did see it. We saw it in jungle, for sure.
I'll find out for you.
I casted that day, but...
But we casted a lot of days, sir, so no one's blaming you. As the Graves, they're going to assume that, yes, it is going to be Wukong, of course, in the solo lane. So Graves going to be taken away first.
Graves, Kindred, I'd say, are your expected ones. After the performance that LNG just put up with the Lee Sin and kind of the composition they're building, where they already have a ton of CC, which would enable a double 80 carry composition, it just makes sense.
You're going to find out now. But no Khan Mordekaiser. Remember, we still need solo lanes here for the side of FPX.
I would expect LNG ban the Hecarim, right?
Ooh,
After the performance that Khan put up at MSC, they're going to draft this composition that wants these front-to-back team fights as well. Going to do great as a supplementary engage along with that Leona.
We've seen Wukong's deal with the Renekton, but pause on that LeBlanc instead. We're not doing double jungle ban. Getting rid of Maple's champion that a lot of people remember him for in the LMS.
We don't too often see in the second rotation teams focus bans on one role, which is a lot more common in other regions, and I'd say even just kind of logically makes more sense. We definitely see teams here prefer banning out those special champions or champions they don't want to deal with from the other side.
Point an example, another solo laner towards mid against Doomby, who he picked up his first ever career pentakill on. Cassidy is last. That means that Hecarim you talked about still there, or no.
Yeah, fits their comp well. And this is what we actually saw a lot of in spring. When Trundle started coming into the meta, I started asking teams around about, why are we first picking this champion? They're like, think about it. We have Misfortune, we have Corki, we have an Ornn, we have a Leona, something like this in the bot lane. You have the perfect front-to-back team fight. You have Engage, you have Peel, you have burst damage, you have scaling. It's all there. It's like the complete package.
The ability to influence terrain with the Trundle as well is that nice little cherry on top too. So for FPX, that package has come together. Bar one final element is taking away the Galio from Doomby in a sense.
We said we wanted to see an aggressive mid-jungle 2v2 coming out from LNG, and that's what they gave us this game. And 2 seconds ago, we set up that this comp is built around things like the Corki. I think the Corki pick would be great here for FPX.
Okay, 10 seconds. Well, you've got a massive wombo already built up from LNG. You still have one that's piled on by FPX. Two very different team compositions that we saw last game.
Yeah, and Corki, not the style that TNB wants to go with.
I know you're going to be disappointed.
But I like it this time, actually. You're right. These two compositions are so different from last games. LNG just wants to go forward, everyone go in. Going to be a bit dicey for Light when his whole team is running away from him.
Yeah.
And now, the good thing about the Silas pick that I like is that Light is going to feel constant threat of flanks coming in from Duinbi when the rest of the members leave him by himself.
In Game 1, we talked about optimal lanes for the solo laners. Is this optimal lane for the Silas going into Galio, or...?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Okay.
I think like this feels fine. The Wukong, Ornn going up against Wukong is going to feel good as well. You're going to get those early resistances. He's not going to be able to trade into you that well.
I was going to ask because it does feel like Khan playing Silas top in spring. We saw it a little bit. But more importantly, Doomby playing a tank mid as well. It was a bit exciting, but it is going to be Silas here for Doomby as the arms get stretched on out. FPX, another day in the office? Well, I'm sure we'll find out because LNG have changed their composition here in Game 2 drastically.
Both teams have, and this time we have Maple enabling XX, which was a style we talked about at the start of the show with the Karma. So I'm a big fan of this, and it just means we really want to see a lot of aggression coming out from XX early on.
You look at XX on Java, and a champion that when he was in top esports, he played proficiently as well. So good to get back some of the roots here for the LNG jungler. And at least looking towards the side of LNG, I mean, if everyone's going away from Light, that's fine, but he is an Aphelios. He does have a lot in his kit too.
He does have Severum.
He does have Severum, yeah.
So,
and he can join in a lot of the fights as well. I'm excited for this one, Lyric, because now we get more of the LPL style. We get more of the fighting, and these objectives are going to be a little bit more skirmish.
That last game, we did have a lot of fighting.
But no one died. This time people should die, right?
Oh, I mean, especially with the fact that both of these compositions want to do similar things. They want to take similar fights. It definitely spells out action. And the thing we want to see out of LNG especially was in that first match against Suning, it felt like they just watched themselves lose the game.
Slowly.
So this is a comp where, like, that can't happen, right? You need to be the proactive team.
Okay. Welcome to Summoner's Rift. Game 2. FPX now on the red side, and you can see W1D5 has opted in for the Conqueror Silas. We've got to mix a bag of runes with this man, but
we have Phase Rush on Galio.
yeah, we do.
Yeah, this one actually isn't too common.
No.
Not something I can say that I've seen.
To hit auto attack, Q,
Yeah, you would need
and then E,
like E.
or W.
Yeah, exactly. And then running through a team fight. But it's kind of strange because you would think you'd want to get the Phase Rush to set up better for your taunt.
It'd be nice if
I
Phase
guess you
Rush
could,
was
right?
activatable, right? If it was an active, then you could use it with W. We've seen a lot of Predator, Galio mid here in the LPL, especially by W1D5. As Invade started here by Tien, it will be spotted out though.
So they're just going to end up trading sides, which on the side of LNG, I actually think you're okay with because Galio should have the early push in mid lane, so he shouldn't have to worry about W1D5 being able to make it bot for any sort of dive. Of course, W1D5 does have TP, and we have seen here in the LPL quite often where mid laners just give up a wave or two to make that TP dive on the bot side.
As early as like level 3, level 4 as well. It doesn't really matter. XX now starting on the Raptors here after that. Also Krug's bottom side for the likes of Tien. Also note that Khan being on a weaker side of the map might not be too bad. We've seen Ornns really thrive in weak side top lane, as W1D5 has been out-traded.
We see here Galio's going to do pretty well in this early matchup. It's going to be all about dodging that E, right? If you get hit by the E, you don't allow W1D5 to stack up that Conqueror. You're going to come out ahead in the trade. You have early resistances, good early burst. Your wave clear is much better and more reliable. The thing I like about the Silas coming out from W1D5 is you just look at all of LNG's ultimates, and they're actually pretty much all amazing to steal.
Oh, yeah. What's the worst one? The Moonlight Vigil.
Yeah, I was going to say probably, I mean, the best one's obviously the Wukong ultimate.
Person's not going to be near. Very true, but we've got a gank in the mid lane. Tien now going to get shielded around as XX is a level behind, but the abduct does not land. As Tien is still like, I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah, both of these are. But W1D5 is level 3 to where XX, W1D5 and Tien are both level 3 to where XX is only level 2.
Still going to back away anyway, as the bottom lane is a 2 versus 2. Ignite's going to get dropped down on Chris as Duan has to flash away. LWX and Chris win that one out. Ignite for flash.
You remember we talked about Nautilus against Leona so much in spring about how if you hook into a Leona, Leona's not only tankier than you because of the resistances and shielding offered from her W, but she has so much more damage.
Yeah, as shown there. Chris still waiting around the side.
So right now they are both only level 2. Of course, Misfortune having more early burst than the likes of an Aphelios.
But I think about to hit level 3. As Chris is wrapping around. We got our grand final rematch, so I know we're looking towards the bottom of the screen. I was just waiting for something to happen, but this is what's on the cards here. JDG and Top Esports this weekend. Just a side note.
Brought to you by me and Mr. Hysterics.
Hey, it is too.
Yeah, it's both
it
of
is
us.
too. Now, as a side note, I know we're not seeing Jackie Love today, but I hope by then we should have Jackie Love. Oh, we're back.
We're back.
We're still back. We should have Jackie Love by then.
We're going to get a taste of the highlight on that day, I'd say.
Ooh, High Society with Zoom, huh?
Exactly.
Zoom vs 369 should be a good matchup. Again, top laners in the LPL, can't beat them. Especially if you're the LCK.
Oh, God.
Too soon? No, not too soon. They've had a week. LCK comes back next week. They can say something rude about us as TP is going to be burnt here. W1D5 burnt his before while we're talking about that grand final rematch.
Yeah, he's not going to allow for W1D5 to hold that wave and make him miss out on any CS. Going to TP, try to get that push. And on the side of LNG, it is all about that level 6 point, right? Getting that combination coming out from XX and Maple. Actually, Maple's a lot of members you can follow, right? Dwan hits a good hook. Shenlun gets on the back line.
Yep.
There's a lot of options for you to be able to get on the carries of FPX.
Even if defensively, if everyone stacks on top of Light, Maple's still there and XX can follow up as well with Shenlun. So I look towards LNG right now and I think this is much easier to execute than what we saw in Game 1.
But also for Tien, you can gank pretty much any lane. Once Call of the Forge God comes out, you have a great opportunity there in the top lane. Of course, you would typically want to link up with W1D5, counter gank, win out that mid 2v2, and then go bot where you have this early game 80 carry in the likes of Misfortune, and you have great CC coming out from Chris. Both of these comps just spell out, we're going to get big neutral objective fights.
Yeah.
So once that Herald comes up around 8 minutes, that's probably when the action's really going to start.
Because I'm not using the S word here, am I? I'm not asking you about scaling at all.
No.
Okay. I'll put that out of my vocabulary for one game. Ocean Dragon going to be starting off in the rift on the bottom side. Note where XX is as he gets spotted out by a ward. XX is still about a level behind. He's close to leveling up, but Tien on his way. Level 5 PTA Trundle. He catches XX, which shouldn't realistically happen. Okay, well, he's caught him. Dragon flag away. Movement speed there as well. Doomby gets shielded to ran it in, but he's actually stolen the ultimate from Maple first. Not enough mana to follow this one up, nor the damage yet here for the early game Silas.
Yeah, and he has to go answer that wave. So now LNG actually could look to contest the end, but...
Here he comes. Flag and drag away. And Doomby should note that Maple still has his available, but the flash forward absconder duck. XX has to respect that. With now the bottom lane of Dwan following up as well, but the flash forward here from Chris, they're going to stop him first. And now with the real Galio coming through, Tien is in a lot of trouble. Gets first blooded by Light. As on top of LWX he goes. It is a trade, but one more hit needed as Maple flashes forward for the Justice Punch. A messy scrap in the bottom lane. Netting out a win for LNG. As Doomby gets Wind of War, Maple gets a triple kill. And LNG say this game could be ours.
That ult was just absolutely beautiful coming out from Maple. He got a 4-man knockup. Everyone on the side of FPX going up, and being able to come out ahead. Light was just left uninterrupted, able to deal damage as he pleased. And earlier you said we weren't going to talk about the scaling word, but when it comes to LNG's comp, the fact that we've seen what this Aphelios can do so many times just does make me feel confident for them. But just keep your eyes here on Maple. Everyone with Dwinby, oh no, actually I was wrong. Dwinby doesn't get knocked up, but still not able to do anything. Dwinby's mana bar very low, and Light just dealing such good DPS. Maple flashing in, and then XX coming in with the flag and drag, knocking Dwinby up, giving Light even more safety.
Super well played by Maple. And now he's almost got a proto belt at 7 minutes into the game.
And think about it. That fight started with XX a level down. I thought it was very dicey for LNG to look for that fight, while XX was only level 4 compared to Tien's level 5.
I mean, we saw him burn his flash as well, too. And XX had to get out of the fight, and a slow re-engage from LNG ends up winning out. Now, FPX do get the Ocean Dragon, but they're still behind 1,300 gold in this early game. A much better start for LNG in game 2.
And when we look towards the late game, holistically, I like what FPX has drafted. They have a really strong front-to-back team fight. They're going to have Dwinby threatening the back line of Light. The question that I'm asking myself is, if we get to a 4 or 5 item scenario, can Aphelios just duel the Sylas threatening the backline? Because the answer should be no. Like,
but you know it's
FPX's comp, I think, does outscale. It should win out these late game team fights. But if Dwinby comes to her flank and Aphelios wins out, I mean, then he's just going to destroy the rest of FPX's front line and just win.
Best scaling in the game, as far as I'm concerned. Is we might give Light some kills here. It's 2 versus 3, but the bullet time, even though it's interrupted, does enough damage. Chris picks up the kill. A 1-for-1 trade with LWX doing a bit of damage.
Yeah, so both AD carries going down, but now this is going to open up a free Rift Herald for the side of FPX. We actually already see Tien starting it up, and good guy Dwan holding the way for his AD carry.
What a lad. We've got ourselves a bottom lane of Aphelios who, even though we do see a trade going through, still going to be beneficial as he walks back to this held wave. Tien going to be starting up the Rift Herald. Remember, FPX picked up the ejected ball forehand, and with Khan shoving out the wave, XX going to be a hard contest.
You have no ultimates on the side of LNG. Their comp is completely ult-reliant, especially with the Jarvan and the Galio, so we're not going to see fights unless those are up.
Also note, Maple just went back for the proto belt. So here we are, 9 minutes into the game, a 3-0 Galio with a bounty, who's been leading in CS in this lane for quite a bit. Going to be receiving that wave that Doomby just pushed out. Also note that if we're talking about another fight over the next objective, which is the Dragon in 3 minutes, Maple will have Flash, have the teleport, have that ulti, and probably be towards 10 or 11.
And right now is going to be one of their windows to make a play. Dwinby back, he's coming to lane, you're going to push out this wave as Maple, so we want to see XX look towards the bot lane and combo with that Galio ultimate.
You can see everyone moving down, but the Scuttle Crab secured will spot out XX at the very least. Maple has no way of getting past this without getting spotted, but he might not need to. The hero's entrance up.
Dwinby does. Dwinby's TP actually just came up.
Flag and drag on top of LWX, and LWX doesn't have a flash available. He's just dead. Maple jumps in for the 4th kill of the game, and for FPX, how do they come back from this? As XX gets low, but Doomby jumps on the Cataclysm locked on down. Chris with the engage, but the damage way too much, and LNG are dissecting FPX in game 2, as the chase will follow up. Tien Doesn't get Shield of Duranda, but FPX know that Crisp must die.
And I love that because they were a bit, not late, but they had to get the right setup for that play to come out, and it gave Doinby time for his TP to come up. But as long as Light and Dwan were willing to commit to that play, they were confident that they would come out ahead, and they did. And this is not a lead anyone was expecting to come out for LNG in any of these games.
And not as clean shot calling as we expected when LNG came into this series, right? These are good comms. This is consistency so far in this early game.
Especially coming out from XX, having the confidence to make these plays.
Yep.
Maple, of course, playing well, and Light has consistently surprised. I'd say even towards the end of last split where we saw Asura kind of start.
Sorry, sir, I have to pause you because Shenlong might be in trouble. He goes to the bouncy house and Khan picks up a kill, but he has no mana, has to flash away. Maple is humongous.
Oh, God.
The giant of the dragons will pick up a kill onto Khan as a response, while LWX is ready to die again. He says, don't give it to Aphelios. He flashes for no reason, and Light now has a 3-kill.
And you just have to wonder why he was there, because you see where Crisp is on the map. Like, how did he get so far overextended that he was running through LNG's jungle?
I don't know. The bottom lane right now really struggling on the side of FPX as Chris is going to spot out Maple. Bit of a surprise with Soul Flare, but do they have the damage? Maple, again, word is humongous. He flashes over the wall, but Doinby matches him as well. The Chain Lash to slow down, but the Winds of War does quite a bit. The turn here onto Doinby is very viable as Phase Rush comes in. Cataclysm down, all on top for Doinby. He steals the Cyclone, but the Winds of War again. 7th kill of the game for Maple, and FPX are grouped up. Crisp walks into the waiting arms of happy Maple, who has a double kill, who has Winds of War again. Into the backline, LNG are walking forward as Khan gets rolled back in. The bullet time lined up nicely, but it doesn't matter. Chenlong shares in the spoils of war. 13 kills at 12 minutes for LNG.
And Maple is just so massive. We saw Doinby use this whole combo, and Maple knows, hey, I can actually just turn on you. My team is coming. We have more damage. We have more items in these fights right now. LNG can just look towards Dragon and
as LWX again, he's just dead. And Light now has 4 kills as well.
This is really disappointing out of LWX, but great to see out of LNG. The more competitive teams this split, the better.
You know what I'm learning this game? FPX need to stop fighting the Galio. Stop walking towards the Galio. 5k gold lead here for LNG. Cloud Dragon up. This is theirs.
And think about it. The past 5 minutes, a lot of these fights have been pushed by FPX, right? We saw the great play in the bot lane come out from LNG, a nice proactive play, but almost everything else has been FPX running into LNG, thinking they're making mistakes, running into a place where they have no vision, and then just constantly getting collapsed on.
I know this is very early, but remember what happened at the start of Spring Split? Before we went to that break due to COVID, FPX had a horrible week 1. It was with Khan. But this game does not feel like it's anything to do with Khan, right?
They came back and they were playing horribly with Khan, but it wasn't Khan, remember?
No.
Me and you even had this discussion off screen that it felt like their bottom lane was making more mistakes. Tien wasn't playing as well, but...
Okay. Well, we've got Cataclysm here in the mid lane. Flash away. Dwan is going to get followed up with it. It's gone to duck. Good Solar Flare. FPX will find this pick onto the Nautilus. LNG sticking around for a bit too long.
Let's also remember that FPX does have great scaling. Silas a lot more of a late game champion. Trundle as well can be able to steal the resistances from, you know, any member of LNG.
But Aphelios.
Exactly.
But Aphelios.
That's what's always so frustrating about when we talk about scaling in these comps, where it's like, you just look at the things that Aphelios can make happen just by himself, and it just skews the argument so much.
All you have to do is make sure if he has Severum and Crescendum, or Crescendum, however you want to say it.
It's Crescendum.
Is
I
it?
mean, for those of us who...
speak the English language. Yeah, okay. If he has Severum and Crescendum, the dude wins. And he's got that right now, by the way. All he has to do is press Q on that Severum and then attack LWX. 2-level lead for the 80 carry.
I also like how he once again have a graphic saying JDG versus Top Esports.
Hey, did we?
Yeah, it just changed, actually.
Oh, damn, I missed it.
Upcoming match for Rogue Warriors and TES. But this series looks like we're going to a Game 3, so...
Do you just read everything that's on the screen?
Hey, if it comes on the screen, I feel like it's meant to be said.
Patch 10.11 as well.
Exactly. LPL Summer.
It is LPL Summer. It is 2020. Who knew?
On my notes, I was writing 2019 for a while.
Were you?
Yeah.
You're living in the past, man. Quite literally. LNG. Hey, here comes Herald number 2.
Yes.
Yes, there is. All right. Lyric, what can you tell me about this game of League of Legends from here on out?
One good thing for FPX going into the later stages of the game is, okay, maybe not anymore because Maple is 8-0 on the Scalio, but Silas should win out in the side lane in a 1v1, so that is at least a place where you'll be able to constantly generate pressure from.
At the very least, look at where Maple is now while we are speaking of mid laners. Level 11 Galio here with the Hero's Entrance, while LNG going to use the Herald to push mid. Turret almost goes down without it, but after the Herald takes a meaty bit of health, chunking that. Inner next on the menu. FPX very reserved, finally able to push out and clear away before the Herald can do any more damage. But that turret of Aphelios, half health LWX.
And we're 6k gold ahead for the side of LNG.
Yeah.
And the great thing about their composition is, you know, some comps can't really do much without a neutral objective up, something like a dragon. But their comp just has so much dive potential, they can constantly just keep pushing mid and then playing around whatever side they have, you know, someone like Shenlun, or if they've... it's probably always going to be around Shenlun's side, but yeah.
And the beauty of it is, as well, it feels like if LNG, one of the ult fails, especially with this gold lead, you've got to deal with so much more. There is always the next ult up on the menu. We're getting a highlight here of Maple, and I'm just going to come back to what you said at the start of the broadcast, where you want to see Maple be the place that they play through, right? Well, game 2, even though it was under interesting circumstances, LNG have played through Maple.
It's very easy to forget for LPL-only viewers, or maybe not, because I've even coached in the LMS, right? And it's easy for me to forget how much of a prominent player this guy used to be in the world. Again, dominated his region for 3 years, went to every international competition, consistently looked... Maybe he was never in the conversation for one of the best mids in the world, but was always in that upper echelon of mids at like Worlds or MSI. So... we need to see him bring that experience to this team.
It was on the Flash Wolves roster that it was like Maple's name was known. He comes into the LPL, and on Suning, the Team WeCoin super team, he was never anything of the sort. Yeah, he did not show up. He was one of the worst mid laners in 2019 spring and summer. And then even in 2020 spring.
He looked a bit better, but I'd still say he was one of the worst mids in the league.
But you never said he was Flash Wolves level of Maple. It's kind of interesting because the conversation extends to quality of mid laners in the LMS versus the LPL. Because we do have good mid laners.
Even if you think about it, the second tier team, or even first in 2015, was always HQ. And Westor was not considered a high level mid laner, so the competition definitely wasn't there. But the confusing thing was, again, Maple was doing fine on an MSI level, on a Worlds level at IEMs. So you never thought he'd be less than at least an average mid laner in the LPL, but...
he still kept the same dynamic. Sword Art came through with him on Suning as well. The high school friends, the long-time colleagues.
He has that even on LNG with Stake. They played together for a long... Heck, they were at the Season 3 World Championship together.
Man.
People might not remember that, but they were on Gamania Bears.
That's right.
Unfortunately, the only series I got to play was against SKT, but...
hey, experience is experience. You'll take it where you can get it. LNG have also just picked up an Infernal. We've got an Infernal Rift, by the way, if you didn't pick that one up already, and on a team that does have a lot of burst. Well, LNG are going to be appreciative of that. 4 minutes till the next one. Baron's coming up in 45 seconds as well.
With Baron coming up, the lane assignment I'd like to see is put Shenlun in that bot lane. You could have your core 3 of Light, Dwan, and XX stay mid with Maple hovering. And then you can look for a 2-man dive on the bottom lane turret if you want with Maple and Shenlun, because they both have TP. FPX won't be able to threaten a Baron.
There's no way they're going to get a trade with the way this game's gone so far for LNG.
But surprisingly, they want to keep Shenlun in the top side.
What do you think of, to tangent away, what do you think of Maple's second item? Do you think with that lead, do you think it's
okay? It's fine. You have a lot of healing on the side of FPX.
Okay. What else? What are you going to say something before I interrupted you?
I was going to say, actually, keeping Shenlun in the top lane is fine for the fact that Maple also has TP, so you can also just make that same play on the top side. Just Maple has to roam up, and now DoNB gets pressure on the bot side turret, but if you can get this and maybe enforce a kill, you can threaten a Baron.
Call the Forge God going to be used. The rest of LNG coming in pretty shortly as well. Just notice while we have been talking a lot about Maple, Light is also giga-fed at this point.
XX has done great this game.
And XX is pretty damn tanky, yeah. Done great. I think XX showed those signs of brilliance in game number 1. It's good to see he's been consistent through number 2 as LNG threatening towards the Baron. There is now no longer any vision by FPX as Doomby has TP, but he doesn't have mana. So if he comes to this fight, he is going to be, well, pretty manaless.
We don't want to see LNG force a 50-50. They have so many engage tools. We want to see Shenlong go in with the follow-up from Maple. We just need to make sure that Light can get in the fight as well.
TP coming in. Doomby did reset to pick up the mana as, look, here's the engage from Dwan onto Chris, who flashes away. It's a one-man ulti from the Aphelios as Shenlong goes on in, but no one is with him just yet. Remember for the Galio ulti as Doomby picks up the own Cyclone, but LNG are separated. Subjugate used by TN as well, but LNG are pushing forward as Cataclysm will find its Mark II with the bullet time on top. The hero's entrance is defensive, but they're still onto Chris. They still have the damage, and Light is throwing out some shurikens of his own. One pick here for LNG. FPX kite back.
A bit messy with LNG posturing to both sides. They wanted to run forward, but also wanted to go up when they saw Shenlong go on to Dwinby, but the thing I love about how that fight ended was we keep seeing Light aggressively walking forward, and that's what you need to do, right? You know you're the big damage threat on this team. Maple is too because of how far ahead he is, but realistically, Light's the main carry in this composition, and you need to be willing to play on that knife's edge to win these fights.
It's going to be even harder to kill him now. He's just picked up a Phantom Dancer as his third item, and it seems like the Executioner's Calling will be coming short. As we pull down the scoreboard, you know what that means. We could be going to a replay as... Oh, no. What's happening?
We are watching Ornn farm.
Very fun.
And, again, Ornn's auto-attack animation sound is really nice.
Satisfying.
I don't mind it.
Do you prefer that or Maokai? Because you have a thing for Maokai auto-attacks.
We're not having this conversation once again,
Why
but...
not?
Let's,
Do you prefer Ornn or Maokai? Ornn's the right answer. I'll answer it for
I can't
you.
decide.
Okay. Sometimes in life, you got to make split-second decisions, all right? As LNG, are you ready to do the Baron again?
I really like this play with him. Just go straight on the Baron, make Khan blow his TP, go back to the same setup.
Still being chunked down. Dwan's coming in red hot as well. FPX, 4 people here. You talked about the TP now being used, but over the wall they've hit. Finally, an Aphelios ulti with the full time comes in as well. Shenlong has joined in, but LNG are getting dangerously low here. Khan with a massive Call of the Forge God. Abscond Duck doesn't connect, and XX will be happy about that with Gravitum on the backside. Light keeps him at bay, but Doomby finds him with the pillar. Locked on down as well. XX on the grand escape. Slowed down with the shield, but not slow enough. Gravitum in once again as Light tries to turn this around. The Zenith Blade doesn't connect from Crisp, but in comes Shenlong. At the speed of Light, the flash forward with shield to Duran, and Maple still as bad as he is, ready to launch on top of 2. One for the knock-up, and now another for the kill and Khan.
And they went a bit too hasty at first, but still great play from them, able to come out ahead. And Maple just hitting these taunts so perfectly. We're really seeing the value of the phase rush in these fights. And I don't need to keep hyping up Light. He's just continuously walking forward, tethering his range, making sure that Dwinby can't get on top of him. Now they're going to get a Baron.
They are, with no TN for 10 seconds. This is going down pretty quick with just the 2 of them as well.
I also like that Maple's hovering towards Dragon just to make sure that the other members of FPX don't head over and take it.
We're at a point when that Dragon gets looked at seriously. Maple's ult will be up yet again, but focus on the Baron here, and LNG's gold lead of about 8,000 gold.
Now they're just going to be able to start sieging down in the mid lane, and you don't actually have that great of wave clear on the side of FPX. LWX probably going to have to blow something like a bullet time. We've already seen Khan have to use his Call of the Forge God to clear a wave, and that obviously won't work against a Baron buffed wave.
And we're so far away from FPX becoming that relevant point of the late game scaling we talked about with the Ornn, the Silas, and of course the setup that was mentioned during Champ Select.
And now because remember a question earlier on was, what happens if let's say 5-item Silas jumps into a 5-item Aphelios in the back line while the rest of the fight's going as you'd expect. Who's going to come out on top? Well, now we have a 3.5-item Aphelios against a 2-item Silas. We know who's going to win.
Oh, yeah.
And again, Light does have to dodge the E, but one basic sidestep, you come out ahead in this duel. LNG, everything's in their favor. We expect them to win any fight going forward. But we need to remember, LNG can make mistakes. FPX do have great players. Things can still change.
Okay.
We don't expect them to change.
No.
But they could.
LNG, it's all about finishing this game up then, bringing us to a game number 3. Doomby will take away the Cataclysm to a good dodge away with the Abscond. And FPX now pushing out of their bases. Doomby saving that ult for now. As Maple pushing mid with the Baron buff, and FPX have to look 2 different ways.
And it's really hard because even if you all in on Maple, he has the taunt, he has the Zani's Hourglass, he can just buy so much time for the rest of his members of his team.
Well, I'm going to start the engage here, though, in front of turret. Khan's still tanky enough as Call the Forge God comes through. The bullet time lands onto the support, the flash away. They've found Light, and again, you talked about this Aphelios, but now he kites his way back as the AoE starting to fly. Watch Light in the back line. No one near him anymore, and that's going to be game because Maple has found his way in now to the front lines as well. LNG, no mistakes here, Lyric.
And I'm so happy to see, we saw after game 1 they were still so talkative and they weren't down in spirit, and that leads them to picking up the second game.
Forward they go. All 5 members still healthy enough as Light is the one who will not stop with this push. Baron buff pushing the minions in as Dwan finds another engage onto Khan. He can't get the knockup with the Searing Charge. They're onto the back line on LWX. He will get a kill as a response, but he's lost his tank. At least they got Maple, though, so I guess the game's not over now.
Yeah, they actually are able to hold out. You would expect with the amount of engage and level of tankiness on their members, they would have just been able to go for the dive, but good play coming out from FPX to hold out long enough, and we see a TP going into the top side.
Okay, well, the wave was pushed there and not responded to by LNG. Do1B will just kind of shove it in, but won't be able to get the turret.
That's kind of strange.
Yeah. Looks like his flash in game 1, but we'll have a look at this again because FPX ended up defending it.
They leave Light out on his own. It was so scary. If Do1B was there and they were all able to jump on him, this could have been a completely different fight. Do1B's not there. Light gets the room to play the way he wants, uses Cleanse well, and the rest of LNG just serving as a big meat shield. Maple once again with another great taunt as well.
We're not going to look at the later part of that play where Khan kind of gave up his life so LWX could shoot out a couple of big bullets, and LWX is doing a lot of damage, mind you. A rapid fire cannon was picked up. He's got the Essence Reaver and the Molten Edge, the upgraded Ornn item, so there is a lot of damage on this Misfortune to start popping out some of the members like XX and Maple who died in that fight.
We need to remember, though, that Do1B is the late game, is supposed to be the late game carry of this team comp.
Yeah.
But he is, what was he, 1-5?
He's a far way off.
He is a far way off. That's a good way to put it.
Maple is still absolutely humongous. So we want to see LNG finish this game. I mean, it's going to be worrisome if FPX are able to find their claws and knock down LNG. They've still got an inner turret towards the top side, but pings are going mid. Right now, Light sitting there with the rest of LNG hovering between.
Yeah, they're hoping that FPX makes a mistake and walks into their jungle, but...
Depends. Good dodge away as Tian is still going to get locked down. Nevertheless, the ultimate goes onto LWX in the back line, but Tuan, without that ultimate, won't matter too much as the turret goes down.
Realistically, LNG, though, aren't going to be able to siege down these turrets unless they're willing to look for a dive. You have no reason to gamble on a play like that, though, when Dragon is up in only a minute, and you're going to have an Infernal Soul.
Oh, very, very true. Baron as well, about 20 seconds after that. And the way Light has been pumping out damage, that Dragon's going to go down so quick where LNG can transition up and threaten the other objective.
Realistically, we need to see FPX to be able to coordinate getting on top of Light with Crisp, Khan, and Do1B as LWX is opening up that bullet time. But even then, Maple and Shenlun might actually have enough damage to clean up LWX in the backline during that time.
Speaking of the devil, he's just teleported in. Level 16 Galio rises to the ranks of the mid lane. And Maple also, he's got a needlessly large rod atop his other 3 items, so I don't think LWX will kill him as quickly as he did the last time around, if at all.
No, but both teams just trading waves for now. LNG's actually hard pinging on mid lane right now. Looks like they really want to engage, but they don't need to jump in mid. They can just force FPX to come to Dragon or just take the Dragon for free.
Yeah.
A or B. Seconds. Even if FPX do get something like the Baron, sure, they might buy a bit more time, but you just wait that out. You'll be the team with the Infernal Soul.
Which is not even going to be touched whatsoever. And that trade for FPX doesn't seem like it's considered at this point. Just getting vision around it. Infernal Soul.
Hasn't spawned in time, right?
So there we go. Timing's nice when they line up. As LNG, chances of them picking this up, very, very likely.
Yeah, Aphelios right now is very dangerous. And right now, all Shenlun and XX have to do is hit some good ultimates. Maple doesn't even necessarily need to follow them in. He could save that to try and save Light if he wants, and everything's going to be on Light's back. And with the amount of AoE and engage you have on the side of LNG, we've seen how nice it's been for Maple to be able to hit these 3- and 4-man taunts.
He's been doing it all game long. Just notice that Tien and XX, the jungle level difference here, is 2, which is pretty damn massive. That's 80 damage on the smite. Now, for the unbelievable, can Tien steal this away?
Heck, LNG can't just take this patiently, though. They have super minions pushing in the bot lane.
Actually channeling into the base right now as the engage comes through from Dwan. They pull off of the Baron. FPX are cornered around as LWX is going to be the target. The knock-up slides through the whole team. It's called the Forge God does land, but here comes the Wombo and LNG. All they need to do is lock down with a taunt. In the backline, Maple gets his mark yet again, and there are some trade-offs here, but Light still lives. Khan left as a remnant of FPX, and this one's going to game 3.
I'm going to be honest, getting excited about that teamfight win is pretty hard with how far ahead LNG are, but the thing I can get excited about is an LNG win.
Yeah, that's right. One that you wouldn't expect against a team like FPX. 11k gold lead, 32 minutes into this game. They'll close this one out. And Light and Maple, it's their story this time around. Big carry pants put on here by some big carry members in LNG.
Honestly, it was a 3-man show. XX